Utility lines such as those for phone and television are generally not buried as shallow as 6 inches. The actual depth at which these and other utilities are buried varies considerably. Several factors influence the burial depth, including the type of utility, the specific soil conditions present at the location, and perhaps most importantly, the local building codes and regulations in effect. In most instances, you'll find that utility lines are buried somewhere in the range of 12 to 24 inches deep. There are several important reasons why a specific depth is chosen for burying utility lines. Firstly, burying lines at a sufficient depth provides a degree of physical protection. The earth above acts as a buffer, shielding the lines from potential damage that could be caused by digging, landscaping, construction activities, or other disturbances at the surface. Secondly, burying utility lines helps to ensure that they are kept separate from other underground structures. Water pipes, sewer lines, and other utilities all need to coexist without interfering with each other. Proper burial depth helps to maintain the necessary clearances and prevent conflicts between different underground systems. Thirdly, in regions that experience cold winters, burying utility lines at a sufficient depth can help to prevent them from freezing. The ground temperature at a certain depth tends to be more stable than the air temperature, providing insulation that protects the lines from extreme cold. In certain situations, utility lines may need to be buried deeper than the typical 24-inch maximum. This is often the case in areas where the soil is particularly soft or unstable, as a greater depth provides more support and reduces the risk of the line shifting or settling. It can also be necessary in areas with heavy traffic or frequent construction activities, where the risk of damage to shallow buried lines is higher. However, it's important to recognize that burying utility lines deeper than necessary can also have drawbacks. The cost of installation can increase significantly, as deeper trenches require more excavation and specialized equipment. Maintenance can also become more difficult and expensive, as accessing the lines for repairs or upgrades requires more extensive digging. Before undertaking any digging project, especially in areas where you suspect there may be buried utility lines, it's absolutely essential to call 811 before you begin. 811 is a free service that connects you to your local one-call center. When you call 811, you'll be asked to provide information about your planned digging project, including the location and the scope of the work. The One Call Center will then notify the relevant utility companies in your area, who will send representatives to mark the approximate location of their underground lines with colored paint or flags. This marking process is crucial for preventing accidental damage to utility lines. Striking a buried utility line can have serious consequences, including power outages, gas leaks, and even injuries or fatalities. By calling 811 and waiting for the lines to be marked, you can significantly reduce the risk of such incidents. The color codes used to mark underground utilities are standardized across the country, making it easy to identify the type of utility that is buried in a particular area. Red typically indicates electric power lines, yellow indicates gas lines, orange indicates communication lines such as telephone or cable television, blue indicates water lines, green indicates sewer lines, and white indicates proposed excavation routes. It's important to remember that the markings provided by the utility companies are only approximate. The actual location of the utility lines may vary slightly, so it's always best to dig carefully and use hand tools when working near marked lines. If you accidentally damage a utility line, it's important to report it immediately to the utility company and to the 811 one-call center. Even if the damage seems minor, it's crucial to have the line inspected and repaired to prevent future problems. In addition to calling 811, there are other steps you can take to protect underground utility lines. Before starting a digging project, take the time to examine the area for any signs of buried utilities, such as manholes, valve boxes, or pedestals. Look for any above-ground markers or warning signs that may indicate the presence of underground lines. If you're planning a large-scale digging project, it may be advisable to hire a professional utility locating service. These services use specialized equipment to accurately locate underground lines, even if they are not marked. They can also provide detailed maps of the underground infrastructure in the area. Finally, it's important to educate yourself and others about the importance of utility safety. Talk to your neighbors, family members, and co-workers about the risks of digging near underground utilities and the steps they can take to prevent damage. By working together, we can all help to protect our underground infrastructure and prevent accident. Remember, calling 811 before you dig is not just a good idea, it's the law in many states. Failure to call before you dig can result in fines and other penalties. More importantly, it can put you and others at risk of serious injury or death. So, before you grab a shovel, make the call. It could save a life. Understanding the depth and protection of underground utilities is important. Knowing that calling 811 before digging is essential for safety and preventing damage to critical infrastructure. It is also important to know the various steps in which utilities may be buried. Factors include soil conditions and local building codes. These factors have a huge impact on safety.